Are you looking to get both volume and definition in your curls? Well, this combo is said to be one of the most difficult looks to achieve with naturally curly hair, but I'm gonna share with you all of my best tips and tricks for achieving both volume and definition throughout this step-by-step styling routine. And I have low density hair, so I definitely know a thing or two about struggling with volume and fullness in my hair. I also wanted to thank Curlsmith, one of my all-time favorite brands, for partnering with me for this video. We are going to be trying out a new Curlsmith combo. All of their products mix and match really well, so you can really customize the look that you're going for. And make sure you stay tuned for step number 5 because it is the key for reducing stringiness and achieving more clumped curls. I've already shampooed and conditioned my hair. I used the Curlsmith Frizz shampoo and duo conditioner. I'm actually leaving a little bit of that duo conditioner in my hair after I rinse it out just for some added moisture. It's a multi-purpose product, so you can use it as a rinse out conditioner or a leave-in conditioner. It contains a combo of blackcurrant seed oil, coconut butter, omega-3, 6 and 9, and this formula is designed to smooth the cuticle and provide more slip for detangling and to help smooth frizz. So a totally optional step, but I just wanted to let you know that I do have a little bit of it still in my hair from when I washed. So now that we have a smooth base for styling, our first step of the styling routine is to apply our styling products to wet hair. So you want to make sure that your hair has the right amount of water in it. The more water that's in your hair, the more defined and the more clumped that your curls will be, but the less volume that you will have. And the more dry that your hair is, so if it's more on the damp side versus soaking wet, the more volume that you will have with a little bit more frizz, and you can get more stringiness. Make sure you stay tuned for step number 5 because it's a really easy way to achieve better clumps and prevent stringiness. So I like a balance of both. So I achieve this by towel drying my hair first to soak up the excess water at the root, and then I mist the links of my hair so that way they're evenly wet. It's not dripping or soaking my shirt. So this step is totally optional, but if you really want to amp up the volume in your hair, you can apply a specific volumizing product. So some people like to use foams like the Curlsmith Bouncy Strength Volume Foam or texturizing sprays, but I actually prefer the Curlsmith Volumizing Lotion because I can really see a difference in the fullness in my hair when I use this. It's not drying, it's very lightweight. You could even use this just as your first base product if you have very fine hair because it is moisturizing. It's kind of like a milky product, but its main goal is to add volume and plumpness to the hair. But you could just start with this product and not use any leave-in conditioner underneath. It really helps to create that fullness within the hair strands themselves. If you're using something like a foam, you can definitely focus that on your root area to create a little bit more grit there. So another optional step, I'm applying a moisturizing base styler. So you typically will see me use a curl cream, but I wanted to try layering gels. So I'm actually going to be using 2 gels. Well, this is more of a jelly styler. So your base product can be in the form of a leave-in conditioner, a styling cream, or a light hold gel. So if your hair is very fine and doesn't need much moisture, you can totally skip this step and go straight to your stronger hold gel. I've been experimenting with the Frizz-Free Rescue Curl Retainer, which is actually more of a gel, but I still find it to be very moisturizing due to the oil content, and it provides a soft hold. So that's why I like to layer it with other gels because my hair needs a little bit more hold. I'm usually a 1 to 2 styler max type of girl, but people really like this layering technique with using more than one styling product to achieve max definition and volume. So I wanted to try it out. But in general, you want to start with the lightest hold product first and then follow with the strongest hold product. So the curl retainer contains a tri-oil blend of sunflower seed, watermelon seed, and argan oil. It's said to help in humidity as well by providing an invisible coating on the hair. If you're someone who doesn't want crunchy curls, but you want a lot of definition, this is definitely what I would go with. You still get some control in your curls, but they won't have a cast on them or appear wet when they're dried. Step number 4 is probably the most important styling product, and that is to apply a gel. I'm using the Curlsmith Shape Up Aqua Gel, which has become one of my favorite gels of Curlsmith because it has that lightweight, liquidy texture that I love. It contains moisturizing ingredients, so you could even use this as a single styler by itself. That would be great if you had very fine hair, but I'm layering it to try out this combination to try and get definition and volume. So this provides a light to medium hold, which will give you that definition that we're going for and longevity. So usually you will see me use a strong hold gel for the most frizz and humidity protection, but the stronger your hold is in your gel, usually the less volume and fullness that you will get. If your hair has ever looked crunchy and really piecey, it was likely a little bit more see-through and maybe was lacking volume. So to still get good hold out of this, I recommend applying it liberally in sections for maximum coverage. You can apply it before you brush style for extra definition. This gel has a ton of slips, so it's easy to style with a brush or to finger coil with it already in your hair. Step number 5 is probably the most important, and that is styling. So styling techniques are what give you control over how your curls are going to turn out. If I skip styling and I go straight to diffusing, my curls end up very stringy and flat. So you can style by using a brush or just use your hands with various techniques. Brushes help to smooth frizz and clump the hairs together, which is great for definition, but it can reduce your volume. I either will use a wide tooth comb or just my fingers to separate any thick curl clumps that are created by the brush. Usually you will see me kind of lean to the side so that way I can actually see the thickness of my individual curl clumps. So you need a brush to give some of that tension to actually define the curls. You can press your hand against it for even more tension, but just be very gentle. You don't want to overdo it with brush styling, and make sure your hair has plenty of slip. I would avoid brush styling if you are really struggling with your hair falling out or if you have very fragile, weak hair. I also like to do some finger coiling when I'm styling, so this is great for people who naturally have very small curl clumps, or if your curls are stubborn and they often change direction or they turn out very wonky. This can just help to encourage them to go in the right direction. A lot of times I will do this around like face framing pieces or any of the short baby hairs that aren't easily caught in the brush. I also like to use a handheld mirror in front of another mirror to actually check the back. I usually will do this in between sections, mainly on my lower section where I tend to get pretty large curl clumps that aren't as even, and I want to maintain a lot of volume and separation in my hair and not over clump it. So this helps me to separate any curl clumps while my hair is still wet, because sometimes you can get frizz when you separate them once it's dry. Also, the way that you part your hair will make the biggest difference in your root volume. So I like to avoid my part going all the way back too far. Like my part tends to extend down the back of my hair and creates a lot of separation. So instead I will section the top section in half, and then taking the back half, I will direct that up and back all at once to help better cover my scalp and any cowlick areas. For the front section, I usually will brush it straight up and then see where it's naturally going to separate, which is typically where you wear your part all the time if you do wear the same part every day. I like to let it just fall naturally into its part, and so that way I can ensure the hairs are clumped into the right curl family. If I have random pieces of hair that are on the wrong side, it will usually end up frizzy and stringy if those hairs don't naturally go together. So this really helps me just ensure that the clumps are going to turn out evenly. I do more precise brush styling and the front section, wrapping the hair right at the root around the brush handle. So this brush coiling technique is good for really stubborn areas. And this also helps to tuck in my grays, which are in this section of my hair. And again, I'm going through and separating any of those thick curl clumps to create more volume and fullness. So I usually will pay attention to where they're grouping naturally and separate them with my fingers and kind of finger coil them into the right groups. Just where they're naturally grouping together. You don't want to kind of force them in different directions, or else your hair might not clump very good. So I prefer these smaller curl clumps versus one big chunky curl clump. I also like to allow my front pieces to fall more forward, which gives the appearance of more volume in your hair when you have those pieces coming around and framing your face. So the curls on my front section actually do curl towards my face. Even if your curls curl away from the face, you can direct them a little bit more forward to give the illusion of more volume, but your hair might fall in your face a little bit more. So that's the one downside to kind of directing the hair forward in the front. So this is a little tip if you struggle with the line showing from sectioning. You can kind of put your hands underneath and fluff out the roots. This is going to help lift the hair up off the scalp, give you a lot more volume, and prevent any of those scalp lines from showing. For step number 6, we're going to microplop. So this step is quick, but it's also essential if you have a lot of water in your hair still, especially if you plan to air dry. So microplopping is simply scrunching your hair with a hair towel, which then absorbs excess water and creates added definition and shrinkage. So water is heavy and it will weigh down your curls if you're air drying it because of gravity. If you're diffusing, it will take forever if you don't get that excess water out first. coarse, especially if you did style soaking wet. If any frizz forms after scrunching, simply glaze in a little bit of gel to tame it. This will give you so much extra hold too, since you're applying gel to hair that is starting to dry. We're almost finished, but stay tuned for one last step after this that will help you if you still get a ton of frizz after diffusing. And this is crucial if you want your roots to actually dry with some volume. I'm using the Curlsmith Diffusion hair dryer and this humongous XXL diffuser attachment, which allows me to cover basically my entire head at once. It has these prongs that are extended out past the end of the diffuser, which helps to create root lift and volume. I do some upside down diffusing while hovering just to start the drying process, but scrunch diffusing is what really gives me the best volume and definition. That's where you actually touch the dryer to your hair. You just want to make sure that you're not moving too fast when diffusing or being too rough, or it will create frizz. Having a gel in my hair with some hold is what's preventing the frizz from forming. Use the prongs of the diffuser to lift the hair at the roots up and then hold it. The heat of your diffuser will set the bonds in your hair, which create that curl shape, locking it in with volume. With air drying, the hair is fighting against gravity and it's going to be more elongated and flat at the roots. I like to also flip my hair from side to side as my hair starts to dry to really amp up the volume at the roots. This is also a great technique if you don't want to have a defined part, but I like to do it to create some lift at the root, and you also don't want to forget the back crown area as well. So it usually takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to diffuse my hair completely. If you're short on time, diffuse for just 5 minutes and then finish air drying. If you do have some large curl clumps and you want to create even more volume, you can separate them. You just want to make sure your hair is completely dry when you do this, and just pay attention to where the hair is naturally separating and then sort of like unravel it. You don't want to pull the clumps apart. So I'm looking at just where it's kind of splitting off to where I can separate it, and this doesn't create as much frizz. You can also kind of finger twirl it to tuck in some frizz if you do get some. Before I show you an easy volume hack, I'm just fluffing out my roots like I usually do and then scrunching out some of the gel cast. I don't have a ton of a cast with the Shape Up Aqua Gel, but there definitely is some there. If you leave in the cast, it's going to last a lot longer, but if you scrunch it out, you're going to get more fullness because it kind of breaks up that definition a little bit. I still leave some in because I still want to maintain that definition in my hair, but fluffing does create a lot of volume. So now for the root volume hack. This is completely optional, but adding a hairspray can really help if you're someone who struggles to get hold, or if your hair just feels too soft and won't hold any volume. So the Curlsmith Flawless Finish Flexible Hold Hairspray gives a firm hold, but it allows you to have more movement and flexibility in your curls. It still gives you that grit and texture though. Just look at the difference where I just sprayed it and then kind of fluffed it up. So now I'm spraying the other side. You just want to lift the hair up at the root, give it a little spritz, and then use your hands to fluff up the roots. You'll notice that you can feel more texture on your hair and more grit that will help to hold that volume up longer, so that way it doesn't just fall. You can also just mist your hair overall if you do want to create more hold, or if you're seeing some frizz, or maybe used a very light hold gel. This is going to give you more hold overall. Another root volume hack is you can take some claw clips. These are just some roller jaw clamps, and I place about 2 of them along the top of my part, and then I mist a little bit of hairspray. Then you can just let that sit, or you could finish by diffusing, or you could finish with air drying. After they set for a little bit, then take them out carefully and just look at how much more volume. That really helps to amp up the volume, especially if your hair is still kind of warm when you put them in. Then once it sets and cools off, it will stay up in that position. I do still like to kind of fluff my roots throughout the day just to amp up the volume even more. And full disclosure, when I'm showing the front of my hair, most of it is pulled around to the front. I don't really wear my hair in the back unless if I'm showing it to you all, but I just wanted to let you know that when you are seeing those front views, that is all of my hair pulled around to the front, but that's how I wear on a daily basis anyways in real life. What do you all think of these results? I think this is the most volume that I've had in a long time in my curls, but I think the true test is how it looks tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this holds up for tomorrow, because the Shape Up Aqua Gel for me always looks even better on day 2. So I'm definitely going to show you how my hair looks tomorrow. I'm actually getting it cut tomorrow, which I'm really sad to be washing my hair again when I love how this wash day turned out, but unfortunately, that's just how the schedule worked this week. So let me know what you guys think of these day 1 results, and let's get into my day 2 results. So these are my day 2 results. I don't feel like it looks bad at all. If I'm not going to be going anywhere, I usually would not refresh this and just leave it. It's totally fine. I do have some frizz going on in my problem areas, which is pretty typical. So mainly in this area, I have some flyaways, and then also around my hairline, these pieces tend to lose moisture very easily. It's some new growth in here, and it also tends to get pretty frizzy. So I would touch that up if I wanted it to look perfect. And then I also have some frizz over on this side, but not bad at all. I actually don't mind when there's a little bit underneath because it helps with volume. Also, the volume has not fallen really at all. If not, it looks even better, especially when I fluff out my roots, the volume still stays. I do still have some texture to my hair, like I can tell that I do have a hairspray in. It doesn't feel awful, but it's definitely not as slippery as my hair normally is, but that's actually what is helping give me some texture and grit. I have a little bit of frizz going on like right up here. I have a lot of new growth that likes to kind of frizz up right there, but nothing too bad. As I said, it's giving me some volume. And then the back I think looks pretty good too and still has a lot of volume. So overall, it needs a refresh if I want it to look completely frizz-free, but it doesn't look bad at all for day 2, and the amount of volume is definitely great. If you want some more tips for achieving soft, defined, and bouncy curls, you can check out the reel that I'm going to have up on my page this week. I will have the link for it down below, but I'm gonna share more tips in that for achieving more softness in your curls while still having that definition and getting that bounce back in your hair. Don't forget to check out the Curlsmith products. I'm going to have everything linked in the description box down below for where you can get them. And if you're a beginner with your curls, or maybe you just are stuck on some of the basics that might be kind of confusing to you, I recently posted a video all about the common wash day mistakes that you might be making. So that's when you're shampooing and conditioning that are contributing to a ton of frizz, tangles, and breakage in your hair. I'm going to have that video linked right here on the screen. It's part of my new Back to Basics series for this year, where I'm kind of refreshing some of my beginner videos that are still applicable to people who know about their curls as well, just sort of as a refresher. So I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.